So I literally used to be terrible at studying. I was in the lowest level in maths, the lowest set, and I would still fail the tests multiple times in a row. But I got to the point where literally I went to engineering school, a very, very maths heavy degree, electrical engineering actually, which is the most maths heavy engineering degree. I graduated with an A. In high school, I graduated with an A. And I basically made a massive academic comeback over the course of a summer. So that summer in between my IGCSEs, right? First year IGCSE, second year IGCSE. That summer in between was when I made my academic comeback. I basically went from being a complete dumbass in every single subject to actually graduating IGCSE with almost all A stars. So I'm going to teach you in this video some things that I've done over the years in engineering school and in high school, and also what I've noticed from other students. Because I went to engineering school, like I said, and I went from literally being one of the most high performing students in my class to literally average, right? I felt like a dumbass in engineering school because those guys were geniuses. They literally were so smart. There was this one guy. So there's this program, I don't know how to explain it. It's very hard to explain. This is a program called LaTeX. He literally would type his maths out. You know how you do maths writing by hand? This guy would literally type out his maths working on a computer program. He would program literally the maths formulas, and that's how he would do his working. Anyway, those guys were geniuses. So I'm going to share some things that I've done over the years and some things that I've noticed in those genius students that they do, so I can help you make this semester your academic comeback. Okay, so the first tip I want to give you, this might seem weird, but you need to collaborate with the students in your class. Now, this might seem obvious, this might seem a bit weird, but I'm going to tell you the specific details how to do this and how to get the best out of it. Now, the first thing you might be thinking is, you want to be a lone wolf. What's the point of collaborating with the students in your class? You're just going to bring up the average mark of the class. Why help them? I want to help myself, right? Well, okay, to be honest, the tip I want to give you is to actually teach other students, right? So here's why. Teaching a student actually benefits you more than it benefits them. Because there's this concept called the Feynman principle, Feynman technique. I don't know if you've heard about it. There's a physicist called Richard Feynman. I don't even know if he invented this technique, but the technique is basically, if you want to learn something well, teach it, right? So for me, a big way I learned my subjects, a big way I learned through this YouTube channel, to be honest, is I literally just talk out loud. When I'm reading my textbook, when I'm trying to do questions, I just walk around my room like a madman, literally talking out loud the concepts, pretending I'm teaching them. So teaching other students will actually help you more than it will help the student. Because there's this statistic, I don't know how accurate it is, the scientists say this, we learn like 90% what we teach, and we learn 20% what we hear. So if you teach somebody, they're only going to pick up 20% of what you're teaching them, and you're going to learn like 90%. So I'll tell you practically how I did this. So one thing you can do is get into group chats. So I recommend for your subject in university, create a group chat or join a group chat with all the students in the class. And whenever students ask questions, basically see that as an opportunity to test yourself. See it as an opportunity to do active recall. So what I did was, and I'll tell you how to create these group chats step by step. But there was a subject I did called, a bit of a weird subject, From the Solar System to the Cosmos. It was like an astronomy subject. And I took it upon myself to literally teach the entire class all the material. I was in the group chat every single day replying to it was a massive group chat with like 100 people. I was replying to people's questions, and they released this mid-semester test, but they didn't have any worked solutions. So what I did was I personally went through the mid-semester test and wrote out worked solutions and shared them to the class, right? I was literally helping everybody else. You would think that everybody did amazing, right? You would think everybody did amazing. You would think I did amazing. You'd think the results would be so good. The class average, I'm not even kidding, was like 40%. Most students got below 50%. And I was an outlier. I ended up getting like 90% on that test, far away from like every other student that there was. Now, I'm not saying this to flex or something. I'm saying this that literally by teaching everybody in the class, I benefited so much and nobody else really got any benefit from it, to be honest. Like, okay, they might have got micro benefits. Probably the reason they failed was their own studying. It's got nothing to do with me. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's actually in your best interest to help the students in your class. Another thing is if you can find somebody who's actually really good at explaining concepts to you, you can use him as kind of like your mentor. Like I remember in high school, there was a guy that I sat next to, Glenn, if he's watching this video. He was so good at explaining the concepts in math that whenever I would ask him a question, he would like know the right way to explain it and it would click in my mind. So if you can find fellow students like that, it can be really, really good. And having a group chat can really motivate you as well. Okay, so a couple tips here how to make this group chat. So what if you literally have no friends in the class? What if you literally can't even create a group chat? First thing you can do is you can go into Reddit. I've done this before. I've gone into Reddit. I've said like, is anyone doing this subject? And somebody replied. That's the first thing. The second thing is to use this thing called the network effect. So if you can even get like 1 or 2 people in a group chat, right? Maybe find somebody on Reddit. Chances are that person knows like 1 or 2 people. Then those 1 or 2 people each know 1 or 2 people. And then suddenly you've got like 20 people in your group chat when you only invited 1 person. So if you can get those first 1 or 2 people, momentum can build and you can have a pretty big group chat. But even if you only know 1 person, that can be massively beneficial, right? And the other thing is just start making friends in your class. That's the other thing. Don't be that lone wolf who like, I used to do this in some of my classes. I would be that lone wolf who would like, you know how there's like a middle row in the lecture and then there's like the 2 side wings? I would literally be like the one guy in the side wing and everyone else would be sitting in the middle. I would literally go sit on my own. Don't do that. Literally make friends in your class. I promise you, classes are the easiest place probably in the entire observable universe, to be honest. The easiest place to make friends. Literally what you do is just come a bit early and just sit next to anybody. It doesn't even matter. Don't like snipe. Don't be like, I want to sit with him. I want to sit with him. Just sit with anybody and just say hi as you're sitting down. Just say good morning as you're sitting down. And once you break that ice, it becomes much easier to get into the flow of a conversation. And what exactly do you say? Honestly, it doesn't even matter because the truth is you can just say like, have you done the homework? You can just say like, have you done last week's lecture? How's the assignment going? There's literally an excuse to start a conversation. And you just talk and you say, hey, by the way, we should collaborate. Let me get your Instagram or whatever. And boom, you've made a friend in your class and he might know 2 people. They might know 2 people. So literally just go be friends with anybody, right? That's a huge habit that you can get into. Have friends in all your classes and that's gonna help you be more social as well. Okay, now what if everyone this has happened to me before. What if everyone in your class is a dumbass and they can't help you? Their questions suck. They're not really helping you. What do you do? This is an interesting tip I'll give you. Find people online. So what I did in the IB program in high school, which was the high school program I went to, I actually made friends in other places around the world. I went onto Reddit and I found a Skype group chat. That was back when Skype was around, 2015. There was a Skype group chat with like a bunch of IB students around the world. They ended up giving me like project ideas. They ended up helping me with my questions. They gave me like secret tips, secret past papers, everything. So make friends around the world if you've got that kind of subject. Okay, the next tip I want to give you, I talk about this a lot, but this is so important. You need to prioritize the study technique of active recall above everything else. So active recall, to be honest, the reason I don't talk about study techniques much on my channel is because active recall is really the only study technique you need to know. So what is active recall? Active recall is testing. Testing yourself, asking yourself questions on the material, teaching it, doing past papers. Once you actually start doing active recall, you will realize that every other study technique is pointless. I'm going to be honest with you. For 99% of my subjects, for pretty much all my subjects, I didn't take notes. I didn't use notes. I didn't use flashcards. I just used entirely active recall. And when you start doing active recall, you will spend so much less time studying. Active recall is a large part of the reason I spent only about 2 hours a day studying in engineering school. Your focus will be better because it's more difficult. Active recall is actually more difficult than other study techniques. So it will engage your mind more. Now, that's the thing. That's why nobody does active recall, because it's more challenging. Highlighting your notes, rereading your notes, copying and pasting notes is way easier than racking your brain to test yourself on the material to take it out of your brain. That's why nobody does it. But a general rule of learning is that learning actually should take effort. For you to communicate to your neurons that they need to change, that they need to rewire themselves for you to learn something, it needs to be effortful. So that's why active recall, yes, it's challenging, but you can learn to enjoy it. Just like, the gym is challenging, you can learn to enjoy it. So active recall, you will study so much less, you will focus so much better, and the other thing is you will memorize so much better. It's just so much better than all the other study techniques. I don't know why everybody is not doing it. When I see other students studying, they're still doing like copy pasting notes. They're still highlighting the textbook. They're still re-watching the lectures 50 times. Active recall really is the only thing you need. You will get so much more time. You will get so much more, you will learn so much better. That's why I feel so strongly about it. Literally, begin teaching, begin testing yourself, prioritize active recall above everything else, and I guarantee you will learn much better. Okay, now the final tip I want to give you to make this semester your academic comeback is what I call the batcave, the batcave mindset, the batcave terminology, the batcave approach to studying. So, okay, there's this book called Atomic Habits. You probably know about it. It's got this really interesting concept where basically we think that in order to change our habits, right, to get into the habit of studying every day, we think, first of all, we need to do the action. So we need to force ourselves to sit down and study. And that will result in our identity changing. We will become an academic weapon. So when we start getting good grades, when we start forcing ourselves to study every single day, we will become an academic weapon. But what this book talks about is actually very interesting. The process is actually the reverse. First, we need to see ourselves as an academic weapon, and then we will get into the habit of studying every single day, and then we will begin to get the grades that we want. So the truth is, you don't need to be a straight A student to be an academic weapon. You just need to start to see yourself as an academic weapon. Now I'm going to get into what exactly this means, how to apply this. But basically what you need to do is you need to simply do the actions that somebody who is an academic weapon would do. So I'm going to tell you why academic weapons, high performers, use this batcave strategy and how you can start to do it. So what they do, they've done studies on this and I've observed this. People who perform very highly in their subjects, every single day, at the same time ideally, they will essentially lock themselves away from the world or put themselves in a corner somewhere to study every single day. And here's the thing, no matter how they feel and no matter how they think they're going to perform. So maybe one day they think, I'm so tired, this is going to be a waste of time, I'm not going to learn anything. They still go to the Batcave. Maybe another day they're like, I don't feel like studying today. I'll perform way better tomorrow. They still go to the Batcave. I'm not motivated today. I don't want to study. They still go to the Batcave. No matter how they feel, no matter what thoughts are going through their mind, no matter how they feel, they go to the Batcave every single day. Like an athlete turns up to the track daily, no matter how they feel. Some days their performance is going to suck. Some days they're going to be so good. It's going to be up and down, up and down, up and down. But they turn up every single day. That's literally, to be honest, this is probably one of the biggest differences between high performers and low performers. High performers simply turn up daily no matter how they feel. There's a book called The War of Art. Not the Art of War. Yeah, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It talks about this concept, the difference between amateur artists and pro artists is going pro. And going pro essentially means treating your process as a full-time job. So you turn up every single day. Your body, you basically force your body to go to your bat cave. Because the reality is, resistance, right? Procrastination, it never really goes away. I felt procrastination to record these videos. I was feeling tired, but I was getting thoughts like, I shouldn't do this. I should record tomorrow when I feel better. I'm gonna come off better on camera. I'm gonna perform better. But I ignored whatever thoughts were going through my brain. I ignored whatever emotions I was feeling. And I still turned up to this room to do my session. Now, this session ended up being pretty decent. I think, I'm able to record pretty well. This is the first take. But even if it had been terrible, it doesn't matter. I was still turning up no matter how I felt. So this is the Batcave mindset. You want to pick ideally the same location, same time every single day, and turn up there every single day no matter what. That's literally the difference that will distinguish you from you versus an academic weapon. It's basically you start seeing yourself as a high performer. You start doing the actions that a high performer would do, and that will give you the results. Because you can't control how you're going to perform. So last week I went to a 10-day meditation retreat, right? And we had to go three times a day to these group sits, these group meditation sits. Sometimes I would go there and my focus would be so deep. Other times I would go there and I would be like so tired. I would literally be falling asleep. So I realized that you can't really control what experience you're going to encounter. Some days your thoughts, your emotions are going to be negative. They're going to be against you. Other days they're going to be positive. They're going to be lifting you up. You can't control that. The only thing you can control is turning up. And the other interesting thing is, by the way, the more you react, the more you procrastinate, the more it becomes a habit. This is a very interesting thing. If your brain and your body tell you, we're tired, let's not study, and you listen to it, then your brain is going to realize that the way to get you to not study is by making you tired, by making you get thoughts of tiredness, right? Because procrastination is your brain and body basically protecting you from the dangers of studying, because it sees studying as a danger. So if you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to go to the Batcave, and tomorrow comes up and you're tired, you feel tired, you get thoughts of tiredness, and you're like, I don't want to do it, and you listen to your brain, then next time it's going to attack you again with that tiredness because it knows it works. But if you get the thoughts of tiredness, if you feel tired and you still turn up and do it, it will start to realize that it's not working on you. And it will start to reduce how intensely it pushes you away, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes sense. I'm not saying ignore your emotions, right? I'm not saying like, oh, you don't feel like studying, push yourself, because you're still going to suppress your emotions. You still need to process through it, because there's a root cause why you don't feel like studying, right? Maybe a long time ago, you had some bad experiences with studying, and now every time you try to study, your nervous system sees it as a threat. So there's like some root cause preventing you. That's the reason you're encountering so much resistance. Because if you didn't have that resistance, you would be naturally motivated to study. So yes, you do need to process those emotions. You do need to work through them, but you work through them by facing them. They need to come up to the surface. So you need to turn up and actually study. So that's the tip I want to give you. Go to your Batcave every single day. Start seeing yourself as an academic weapon, and automatically your actions and your outcomes will begin to align. So I hope those tips help you. Please let me know in the comments any other videos you want to see. Let me know if anything helped you in this video, but see you later.